Yes, sir.
Can you expound upon that?
We've seen multiple times, and unfortunately, we saw like the shooting in Dallas where agitated groups use apps to identify the location of ICE officers, sometimes prior to even the law enforcement action begins, and sometimes using those apps put the officers and as well as other federal agencies and local agencies with them in danger because it exposes the fact of where a law enforcement operation is happening.
Mr. Scott, can you describe how the 300,000 children, the UACs, unaccompanied minors, that we're trying to find them, how these protests are stopping us from being able to recover those?
Gentleman will respond in writing to that question. I now recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Kennedy, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Lyons, your written testimony today does not make one single mention of Renee Nicole Good or Alex Preddy. Not one. 2 American citizens have been murdered at the hands of your agency, and you have deliberately chosen under oath before Congress to ignore these tragedies. And so today, in my 5 minutes, I look forward to getting the American people some answers and some accountability that I believe they deserve. Mr. Lyons, I have some simple yes or no questions. Do you believe the U.S. Constitution provides due process for everyone in this country?
Yes.
Do you believe American citizens have the right to protest freely without being assaulted or killed by our government?
Yes.
Do you believe there should be an independent investigation when an innocent person is killed by a law enforcement agency in this country?
Yes.
Do you believe your agency has a legal obligation to follow court orders?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Lyons, you have a very strange way of showing it with a federal judge finding that your agency is in violation of 96 orders in 1 month alone, and that's just Minneapolis, Minnesota. This administration and the agencies represented before us have shown a complete and utter disregard for the law and the Constitution. Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, both American citizens, both dead at the hands of federal agents. Alex Preddy was a VA ICU nurse who dedicated his life to healing people, healing veterans. I worked as an occupational therapist for over a decade. In that video that we've all seen, it was Alex Preddy who was doing what healthcare workers do, what nurses do. They help people who are hurting, help people who are in trouble. In this case, helping a fellow peaceful protester who was shoved to the ground right before your agents shot him 10 times. And we're now learning that FBI Director Kash Patel stopped the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota from investigating the death of Ms. Good because of fear that an investigation would contradict President Trump's falsehoods that she violently, willfully, and viciously ran down an agent. 6 federal prosecutors resigned rather than participate in a cover-up. Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, and you, Mr. Lyons, have appointed yourselves judge, jury, and executioner, allowing American citizens to be gunned down in our streets with impunity. We all know the president is a liar. He's sold snake oil his entire life, but he can't tell us and the American people that we did not see with our own eyes what we saw in that video. 2 Americans shot dead in cold blood. The American people aren't stupid like he thinks we are. The fact that our government murders American citizens, lies about it, and then refuses to investigate or seek justice is beyond abhorrent. It's un-American. Mr. Lyons, in America, we shouldn't have secret police. We shouldn't have masked government agents executing citizens in the streets. The Constitution does not give your agency the right to hide their faces while they kill Americans. Will you commit, yes or no, to immediately unmasking every agent conducting immigration enforcement and requiring them to wear standard uniforms with identifiable badges?
No.
Well, that's a sad response. Your answer is completely unacceptable. People who are proud of what they do aren't hiding their identity. We're a nation of laws, and you, your boss, Secretary Noem, and Donald Trump are not above the law. The American people are angry, and they're demanding accountability and justice from those giving the orders. Mr. Lyons, yes or no, do you believe that Secretary Noem should resign?
I'm not going to comment on that, sir.
So you're going to look the families of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy in the eye and tell them Secretary Noem should keep her job after their loved ones were killed?
Sir, the loss of any life is unacceptable. And my heart, prayers, and thoughts go out to anyone who tragically losing his life, especially a child, since I've suffered personal loss in my life. But I'm not going to comment on an ongoing investigation.
Well, Mr. Lyons, the American people are watching. Your unwillingness to demand accountability from your own leadership speaks volumes. 2 American citizens are
Gentleman's
dead.
time is expired.
The American people deserve
Gentleman's
accountability.
time is expired. Members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum in debate. It is a clear violation of the rules of the House to make statements that might be personally offensive to the President or the Vice President of the United States. I now recognize the gentlelady from South Carolina, Ms. Biggs, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Chairman Garbarino, and thank you to our witnesses. A big thank you for what you do each and every day to secure our border and to carry out the will of the American people. You know, this Trump administration and the CBP and ICE, they've done a stellar job of securing our border. And we can just look at the numbers. They tell the facts. Crossings are down from a high of over 300,000 a month under President Biden to around 10,000 a month under President Trump. However, the lax border policies of the Democrats have flooded our country with tens of millions of illegal immigrants. This invasion was facilitated by sanctuary cities. Most cities will hand over criminal aliens with a deportation order to ICE, but sanctuary cities refuse to do so, often releasing them back into the public around our communities, our children, and making it unsafe. Cities like Minneapolis pick and choose which laws they want to enforce, and by doing that, they place our federal law enforcement in danger, forcing ICE agents to make arrests out in public, something that could be avoided if sanctuary cities simply cooperated with the federal law. At the same time, radical leftists have stirred hysteria over routine immigration enforcement, calling immigration officers the secret police and even the Gestapo. Let me be very clear. This rhetoric has consequences. Between 2024 and 2025, we saw a more than 16,000% increase in threats of assault against immigration officers, and over 8,000% spike in death threats targeting those who enforce our laws. In Minnesota alone, there have been over 60 threats and 20 assaults to ICE officers. Just think about that if you were going to work every day and had to deal with that. Sanctuary cities, they choose criminals over citizens. My bill, the Mobilizing Against Sanctuary Cities Act, would cut off every single federal dollar to any city that helps illegals instead of law enforcement. Mr. Lyons, my question is to you. Why should taxpayers fund far-left politicians who put your agents at risk?
Ma'am, unfortunately, what we've seen over and over is just the fact that there's so much rhetoric out there against the work the men and women of ICE have done. Again, going back in my career, this is my second decade, multiple administrations, and it's never been like this. And the actual public safety impact that the men and women of ICE do every day is significant, and it should still be true for all 50 states.
Thank you. So I want to take it a little closer to home. What's happening in my district, the 3rd District of South Carolina, it should alarm every single individual. These are real crimes committed by individuals illegally in our country, right here in our communities, confirmed by the Department of Homeland Security. We heard a little bit from my colleagues earlier. So let me just give you a few of the worst. Vehicular homicide, child cruelty and indecent exposure, armed robbery, assaulting a police officer with a weapon, and making terrorist threats, and I could go on and on. We're also seeing convictions for drug trafficking, burglary, forgery, repeated illegal reentry, and more. And this is what I consider chaos. And it's the direct result of open border policies that put American lives at risk. But amid all of this, we're seeing true heroes step up. Our federal immigration officers are on the front lines of securing safety and prosperity for us and for our children. They've been given a difficult task, but they are up to the job and certainly meeting the demands. We stand behind our immigration officers and their historic mission to restore the rule of law to the United States. And right here at home, our local law enforcement is rising to meet the challenge, and I'm very grateful to them. So just look at Anderson County Sheriff's Department, which you'll see in the photo behind me, which recently seized 180 pounds of cocaine. That's 180 pounds of deadly drugs that will never reach our streets, thanks to the courage and commitment. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm grateful for the job that you do.